Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 105 in the book of Genesis. We're going to read about Genesis chapter 23 today, and it's going to be the death of Sarah. Now, Abraham is a man of God. He's recognized as a prince of God. And in the story today, he does what no spouse wants to do on one hand, but on the other hand, what every loving spouse should want to do, which is to die second. So Sarah dies and is buried in Hebron. Now, Hebron is just west of the Dead Sea, maybe 20 miles or so. It's 15 miles south of Jerusalem, which really doesn't exist at this point in history, but it's basically smack dab in the center of what we consider Israel today. So the crazy thing about this is that Abraham and Sarah, after sojourning for 62 years after the call of God, still did not possess the land that was promised to them. So just think about that. The promise of God was for a heritage, lots of people, at a place, and then a person, the person of God. They got the person of God. They've been wrestling with him for all those years. But the other two things they really hadn't had very much of yet. So they sort of only in their lifetime only got a down payment of the yet to be possessed place, which we refer to as Israel today. So they died still hoping for a better kingdom, kind of strangers on this earth, seeking a homeland, having not received the whole of what had been promised, desiring a better country and desiring a heavenly one, just like you and me. That's all from Hebrews chapter 11. So let me read now from Genesis chapter 23 about Sarah. Sarah lived 127 years, and these were the life of Sarah. Sarah died at Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron, in the land of Canaan. And Abraham went to mourn for Sarah and to weep for her. And Abraham rose up from before his dead and said to the Hittites, I am a sojourner and a foreigner among you, after 62 years. Give me property among you for a burying place, that I may bury my dead out of my sight. So the Hittites answered Abraham, Hear us, my lord, you are a prince of God among us, you're a man of God. Bury your dead in the choicest of our tombs. None of us will withhold from you his tomb to hinder you from burying your dead. Abraham arose and bowed to the Hittites, the people of the land, and he said to them, If you are willing that I should bury my dead out of my sight, hear me and entreat for me Ephron, the son of Zohar, that he may give me the cave of Machpelah, which he owns. It is at the end of his field. For the full price, let him give it to me in your presence as property for a burying place. Now Ephron was sitting among the Hittites, and Ephron the Hittite answered Abraham in the hearing of the Hittites, of all who went in at the gate. No, my lord, hear me. I give you the field. I give you the cave that is in it. In the sight of the sons of my people, I give it to you. Bury your dead. Then Abraham bowed down before them, people of the land, and he said to Ephron in the hearing of the people of the land, But if you will hear me, I give the price of the field, accept it from me, that I may bury my dead here. Ephron answered him, Abraham, My lord, listen to me. A piece of land worth 400 shekels of silver, what is that between you and me? Bury your dead. Abraham listened to Ephron, and Abraham weighed out for Ephron the silver that he had named in the hearing of the Hittites, 400 shekels of silver, according to the weights current among the merchants. So the field of Ephron in Machpelah which was to the east of Mamre, the field with the cave that was in it, and all the trees that were in the field throughout its whole area was made over to Abraham as a possession in the presence of the Hittites, before all who went in at the gate of the city. After this, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave of the field of Machpelah, east of Mamre, that is Hebron, in the land of Canaan. The field and the cave that is in it were made over to Abraham as property for burying place of the Hittites. So not only is Sarah going to be buried there, so is Abraham, so is Isaac, so is Jacob. So this is an important place. So we find here that Abraham buries in this piece of land. He buys it at full price. It's eventually bought for him, so he has full price and he gets full legal title to it. And just the crazy thing about the story is that Sarah dies 127 years old, not possessing the land that was promised to her and Abraham. Now, it's still a grief. So even though she's a woman of God and Abraham's this great man of God and has this great connection and has seen the Lord a number of times, he still mourns and weeps for her. Death still has a sting. And if you're in grief right now, I grieve with you and I'm sorry about that. So, someone who has worked through all the trials of life with Abraham is Sarah. Now, it's not a perfect record, and none of us ours. So, here's my prayer today. Lord, get our hearts and hands around this about dying with the plan still not fully accomplished. So, with the spiritual business yet unfinished, let us be content with you all the way through. Maybe there's hearts more to be conquered or heritage to be achieved, but as we finish this life, sometimes we will finish without the tasks of the Lord being finished. So we finish life with tasks unfinished. So get our hearts around this in faith. Like Abraham and Sarah, they had to live through this, leaving here with land, so to speak, still to be to be conquered, leaving here and leaving some things still left to the Lord. So, Lord, help us not to make excuses about not getting started about these things. Fill us even with an urgency of starting because life is short. And as we hope for a better country, what will you help us get started on that eventually we may have to leave to the Lord? Maybe loving the far off, maybe serving the undeserving, maybe giving seed money to something. So, Lord, we will probably die still hoping for a better kingdom, being strangers here, seeking a homeland that's not here, having received, not yet receiving what has been promised, and desiring a better country that is a heavenly one. So if we leave this life yearning and longing and hoping in something better, we are in good company because that's the way that Sarah left it, and that's the way that Abraham will leave it. Thank you for listening.